Hello and welcome to Passion Supernatural Podcast, the podcast where we discuss what we consider to be the best soap opera ever, Passions. Here we are for another weekend, and unfortunately, people, this weekend our beloved co-host Casey Metcalf cannot be with us. She had other plans, unfortunately, but don't worry, I'm not alone because our frequent guest appearance, Acacia, has agreed to fill in for her. Thank you for joining me, Acacia. I appreciate you
Yeah, thank you
helping
for
me out
having
here
me.
today. Means a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
but as I say, every weekend we air exclusively on YouTube on Sundays at 2 p.m. to discuss everything about the late soap opera Passions that aired from '99 all the way to 2008. We discuss the actors, the stories, the magic, the mystery, the romance, you name it. You like it, we got it, we discuss it. And all of you fans out there, I'll just say this now, all of you fans out there who love the show as much as me and Acacia do, and Casey does as well, then please, by all means, if you just love the show and you miss it so much, just give us a thumbs up. That's right, two thumbs way, way up on fire. And then just give us a like and subscribe and leave your name and a social media account that you use in the comment sections below. Me or Casey, or even Acacia, if she sees it, we will reach out to you. And we would love to have you on here. Just as much as Acacia is on here, we would love to have you on here too. We just love it. And hey, as far, I'll just say this now to get it off, so before I forget, as of right now, unless something changes in 2 weeks, we're gonna be having a guest appearance. That's right, we got someone coming in about 2 weeks, I believe it is, if we did the counting correctly. So just tune in, people. You're gonna be seeing another Passions actor who started on the show. She'll be with us. I'm not gonna reveal quite yet who it is, but you guys will all see. So just hang tight and join in. So now, for this weekend, okay, Acacia, since you're with me today and everything and all, I mean, anything with you?
No, I'm not gonna lie. I have not watched a lot of Passions this last week because it's just been really busy. I did
Yeah.
actually last night see this clip though, like on someone's Facebook that they posted, and it was like right around when I started watching Passions. So it was like so nostalgic. It was like from 2004, and it was when Ethan. Of course, that's my favorite triangle. So any video that has them, I'll watch it. Gwen, Ethan, Teresa, and it was after Teresa had Jane, and she's like the baby's in the NICU, and she's like, "Oh, like that's my baby. Like you're not gonna get into the NICU." Like Teresa to Gwen, and I don't know. Have you seen this?
No, I
Okay.
again, I have not seen that far.
Oh
I
my
feel
gosh.
terrible. I've
Okay.
missed out
So,
on
well,
all
do
of
you know the
this.
storyline though? Like, do you know the storyline?
Well, what's going on again?
Okay. So, oh my goodness. I think we kind of talked about this the last time I was on. Maybe it was last week or the week before. So something happens. So I'm not there yet. Where something happens with Gwen, Ethan. They take little Ethan, and Teresa uses um, Gwen's embryos as a like leverage to get little Ethan back. So they were going through a surrogate, and she drugs the surrogate in the hospital on like the day of like implantation, and or transfer or whatever it's called. I don't know. And gets implanted with their embryos, and that's how we get Jane. Well, it was a lot of
Yeah,
stuff in
no, this
between.
doesn't sound familiar to me. No, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't think
well,
I've
yeah.
heard
So
of this.
I haven't gotten to that part. So when I started watching it, Teresa was already pregnant. It was 2004. Teresa was already pregnant. I think that they wrote it like that because Lindsay was actually pregnant in real life, and I feel like it probably just became hard to hide it. Um, but she got pregnant with twins, or there was actually twins, I guess. It was Ethan and Gwen's embryo, and then she thought she like miscarried or something, so she slept with Ethan. So this is where that storyline comes in, where she drugs Ethan and puts on the blonde wig and has sex with him or rapes
But
him, and gets pregnant. And so then she finds out, like, months later or whatever, that she's pregnant with twins. And she had no intention, I think, of giving Gwen and Ethan this baby anyway. Honestly, even if it would have been theirs, I don't know how that whole thing works. But she ends up pregnant with twins, and they're like It's called something. It's some medical term for it, but it's when twins are conceived at two different times, like very closely together, but like it's like two separate
Oh,
eggs.
conjoined?
No, it's something else like where they are like they can be conceived at two different times. So it's like two different eggs release and it's called like it starts with the H.
A
Because
friend
it's
of
like
mine was actually just telling me something about this, like about what, like about a month or two ago or something like that. So it's that what you're talking about sounds familiar.
yeah, it's like it's super rare though from what I've it
Right.
really happens. But um of course in a soap opera it can always happen. But she has so she's pregnant with twins and basically I guess I don't know if the storyline was that her body was just like too small to carry both of them or one of them was like not growing because of the
Yeah,
other.
what you're talking about, like I said, I did not see this, but Teresa does mention it in the very, very, very last episode when Gwen has been exposed or whatever. Teresa does bring this up, and it's actually up to Eve on which one survives or whatever. Yeah, and I guess if I am to understand correctly, I guess the one that would be Gwen's was the one that is put down or whatever, and the one that is Teresa's does survive, and
Yeah, so
so
Jane ended up being the one that survived, and then the baby, the boy that she was pregnant with, was like weak or something like that. So like they, or Teresa,
yeah, yeah.
had
Teresa mentioned that it
they,
was Eve that made the decision. Yeah,
yeah, and so but yeah, so all that, so basically, then Teresa has like this really complicated pregnancy because it's a twin pregnancy, of course, at that time, and then she ends up in the hospital. What happened? Oh my gosh, she has the baby and something happens and the baby ends up in the NICU. And so it's like this huge fight though, because like Gwen's like, I want to see my baby in the NICU. And Teresa's like, yeah, no, you're not going to get into the NICU. Like, that's my baby. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, Teresa's like, no, like, this is their baby. You were just their surrogate. You cannot do this, you know? And then she's like, no, this is actually my baby. And she slowly tells them what happened with her sleeping with Ethan. And of course, it's like a whole shit show because Gwen's
right.
like, you slept with my husband and, you know, you're that desperate and all this. I mean, it's just a whole thing. And Ethan, so the way that they did, which actually is kind of annoying to me because like Teresa did like sexually assault him. And at that point in time, they call it out as like, yes, like this is wrong. Like she sexually assaulted him by drugging him and having sex with him when he was like not, and thinking it's Gwen, his wife. And but then like I think towards like the endish of the show, um, or like later seasons, they
Hmm?
kind of like whitewash it and make it seem like Ethan knew the whole time that it was Teresa and like he made the choice to still sleep with her, knowing that it was Teresa. But like I think that they just kind of did that because like that's kind of a you know shitty storyline as like she like raped this guy and now has this baby and blah blah
Sure.
blah. So yeah, so but like the scene was basically like when Teresa's in the hospital and she's like, no, like I'm going in there, I'm gonna see my baby, and Rebecca and Gwen are like, this is not your baby, like you are not gonna go in there, like we're gonna be in there, and then it's like this whole thing happened in like December, I want to say, because it took a like cliffhanger break around Christmas time for like a week or two, like a week or so, and I remember so like the cliffhanger was like, okay, like we find out that Jane belongs to Ethan and Teresa, and Gwen goes into like this psychotic episode and stabs Teresa. Do you remember this?
And she ends up. No, no, I don't remember her stabbing, but let me guess. That's when she ends up in the straitjacket and ends up in the hospital.
I think she ended up in the hospital in a straight and like she got arrested because she stabbed her in the back and like there was like this long like that was the cliffhanger was like is Teresa gonna die? We knew Teresa was not gonna die because
She's the
she's like the
main
main
character.
character. um, but it was like is Teresa gonna die? And she is paralyzed. So she like
And she ends. Let me guess. Ends up in the wheelchair.
she ends up in a wheelchair
Her
and
and Ivy
Ethan
both got wheelchairs. Yes, I
yeah.
never knew. I never knew the reason why or anything like that. I never knew the reason why, but I did know that there was a moment where her and Ivy both got wheelchairs, except Ivy got an electric one, and
And
and I do.
Ethan Sorry, keep going.
And I was gonna say I do remember because again, I don't remember step by step by step. I just remember things that happened, but I don't know why or how or anything. But I do remember that something ended up happening or whatever. Because again, Teresa and Ivy ended up in wheelchairs. I think Ivy might have been in one longer than Teresa. I don't know, maybe not. But I think Teresa got out of her chair before Ivy did. But I really can't remember
I
because
think so.
I could swear that there was indeed a moment where um, Teresa kind of being, well, angry Teresa for a while actually kicked Ivy out of the Crane Mansion, having like nowhere to go and all that, and that's when Sam takes her home, and I believe that Ivy is still in the wheelchair when that all happens. So,
Yeah, so that's
yes.
actually, I'm not too far from that part right now. I think I've mentioned it before. There's another Passion podcast. That episode is actually one that I watched for that podcast to talk about. So it's in like 2020, no, 2002, I think, or something like that. And then I did a video with funny audio with that scene of Teresa kicking her out into the snow.
Right. I
Um,
remember seeing the scene of that again. I didn't see the full storyline or full episode, but I remember that scene.
I
So,
don't remember that whole storyline because I haven't gotten there. Like that is a part where I haven't gotten to yet, and like I haven't. But I think that what happens there is Teresa is living in the Crane Mansion because she's still married to Julian and the mother of his child. And so she's living in the Crane Mansion, and she had like a meeting or something. I literally just watched this not too long ago. She had a meeting and needed the like living room area to be cleaned up, and like Ivy and Rebecca were in the living room, like they weren't letting the cleaners come in or something like that. And Fox comes up and like tells her basically like, hey, like they're like not gonna move, like, and she goes down and overhears them talking, like they're like saying really terrible things about her baby and her being Hispanic and um
right.
just all kinds of like racist stuff. It was crazy. Like I remember watching it being like, oh my god, this is insane.
Ugh.
And that's when she kicks Ivy out. Like she tries to kick, I think, Rebecca and Ivy out. Julian's like, Rebecca can stay, but and Ivy's like, well, I'm like the mother of your kids. Like, are you gonna let me stay? And he's like, no, like Teresa is Mrs. Crane at this point, so she has and it just becomes this whole thing because she calls Sam to come. Ethan is there with Gwen, and Ethan's like, just let her stay, and blah blah blah, and like Ethan, stupid ass Ethan.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't remember very much of that stuff. I didn't even know a lot of that stuff happened. It's crazy. I know I've missed a lot. I know I've missed a
it's fine.
lot.
It exists on YouTube. You can watch it anytime.
Exactly. And it's like I said, I want to watch it, but I don't want to watch all those episodes by myself. I just know that there's going to be a lot that I'm afraid, like, something good's going to happen, and I'm going to be like, oh, I wish that this person was here to see this. They'd love this. Or I may have difficulties understanding what's happening, and I'll need somebody there to kind of help explain it to me. All that kind of stuff and everything. So, I'll be honest with you, there were a number of parts of even watching the final season on DirecTV with Casey. There were, even though that's the season that I'm most familiar with because I saw that season from beginning to end. Even that season, I had some difficulties understanding how or why some of this stuff was happening. I'm like, how is this possible? What is going on? And all that stuff. So I guess that's just soap operas in general for me. But still, so I want to watch it with somebody, and there have been a number of people, whether they be friends of mine or whether they be a girlfriend of mine, where we will start watching it, and we'll start it from the very, very beginning. We'll get a certain length, and then it stops, and we just don't go any further. And I always end up, like, oh god, I want to keep going on. The next time I get with somebody, I'm probably going to end up starting it from the very beginning, which I've already seen who knows how many times. I already know what's going to happen in the beginning. So, yeah. Um, I did finally, since you mentioned Fox, it kind of helped me. I was finally, obviously, again, you can never really feel safe when it comes to this stuff, but I did finally manage to get a hold of somebody, um, who gave me an email address and had me send in an email, just like about 98 to 99% of all the Passions cast members that I've reached out to. I finally got to somebody for Justin Hartley. I finally, yes, I got somebody finally who said, I'll give you my email, just send an email with all the details and yada 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 and stuff like that, and that was for Justin Hartley. Still haven't heard it. I mean, I did get something back. I did get something back saying, thank you very much, lots of blessings, but that was it, or whatever, so I'm guessing we just have to wait. But yeah, finally, after how long it took me to actually get through to a certain number for Justin Hartley, he was so hard to get through to somebody, finally I got somebody who answered.
Nice, that's awesome.
And I did, this one was even more interesting, because I never did speak to anybody on the phone for this one. This one I still have to try for some more, but this one was actually kind of funny. Again, for the who knows how manyth time, I left another voicemail for a number of a management that I believed managed Bruce Michael Hall, the first Reese. The first Reese.
Oh, cool.
I left another message. That's the thing with this guy, is that I've left so many messages. Nobody calls me back. This time, I left a message. No, I didn't get a call back. I got a text message. I actually got a text message from that one of them saying that they have not managed Bruce Michael Hall in years or whatever, and they have absolutely no way of getting contact with them, so they wished me luck. So I'm like, okay, that number's off. I guess I'll just have to keep trying the other numbers I have of him. So, yeah, so I got one that said they don't manage him anymore, so, yeah.
That's hard.
And as I've... Huh?
So I feel like he's very low-key, like he hasn't, I don't know, been in much after Passion.
Right. It's just weird or whatever. I mean, it's just weird. I thought he might be somebody. I thought that he might be somebody who kind of, I don't know, had something going on in his life. Just knowing that he and after having read the book, just knowing that he and Jade Harlow had something or whatever between each other. And I know that Jade Harlow's got like this big career going on. Here she is, gonna be or is on Young and the Restless and all that stuff. I thought.
Yeah, I think she already started. I feel like I've seen people post about it.
What's that?
I think she's already been on it. I've seen people post about it.
Oh, well, if she might have already started. Yeah, I didn't know if she was moving or if she had already been on there. Yeah, she's probably on there now. Yeah, that was her new. Yeah, basically her and, like I said, her and Blair Redford, they are the two that are having things going around that they're starting or have started, whether it's Jade Harlow on The Young and the Restless or Blair Redford gonna be in a reboot of what's that show called with that David Hasselhoff show. What's it called? Crap.
Baywatch?
What?
Baywatch?
I think it's Baywatch. I think it is Baywatch. I think they're doing
they're making another spinoff of Baywatch? Wow.
Well, no, I think they're doing a reboot, and Blair Redford's gonna be in it. So that's like his new big thing. It's everywhere. Like Blair Redford's gonna be on Baywatch and all that stuff. And I went to my friend and I said, Baywatch is still on, and she goes, "It's a reboot. It's a remake." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, so that's different."
That's kind of cool. I know they did a movie not too long ago.
I never watched the original, so I have no idea. But they're like the two that have things coming up for them. So but like I said, so no, I'm still trying with Bruce. Seth, his twin brother, has like no contacts on IMDb Pro. I'm kind of shocked of that. I thought they're twins. You would think if one has some contacts, you would think the other would too or something. And it also kind of surprises me, speaking of them being twins. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just don't know how it really, really, really works. But it kind of surprises me that both of them, at their age, it kind of surprises me at their age that they were able to both play Reese. Because, I mean, I don't know. You might know more than I would. It's just that I had always heard, and this is what I believed in because of this, I had heard about this with the Olsen twins. I had heard when they were doing Fuller House, even though the Olsen twins never did come back for that, it was actually said, I think one of the girls had actually said that if they did agree to come back, and play Michelle, they would only need one of them because as twins get older, they kind of lose that exact look-alike thing. And at Bruce and Seth's ages of what they were, it surprises me that they still were exactly look-alikes. I figure at that age they would have lost that or something. So, but I don't know. I don't know how that stuff works. But
Yeah, I feel like they looked really, really alike, but you can kind of, I think, tell when it changed. Like you, like they have like kind of like they look. I mean, they obviously they look identical, but they, I think there's certain things that you can kind of tell that like.
well, the only way that I was able to tell was basically the build up for the recast. That was the only way I was able to tell because I remember Seth as Reese. His first appearance was at a swimming pool or whatever, and basically, you know how they do whenever they have a new actor to play a character. Not all the time, but a lot of the times, whenever they have a new actor to play a character, they usually have the camera start at the feet and kind of move its way up to the face. They did that when they finally revealed David Bailey as Alistair and all that kind of stuff. They just start down and they kind of move the camera up to the face, and that's what they did with Seth. And so I was like thinking to myself, that was my only way of guessing this is a recast, but I didn't understand it at the time when I saw it. I'm like, same guy. I had to look it up. I realized, oh my god, that's his twin. So, but that was my only way of telling the difference. They look exactly the same in my eyes. So yeah.
Yeah, they. I mean, they definitely looked a lot alike, and I wonder if like they kind of also like helped them, like for consistency, like hair, or like certain makeups, or like things like that. But
it's really disappointing that he was actually a character it was actually kind of disappointing that they didn't bring back the way they brought back Jessica for the final season for Kay's wedding to Miguel. Even though Jessica couldn't stay for the wedding, at least they brought her back, and here she says that she's now in a relationship with Reese. Well, they should have brought Reese back too. I mean, that would have really been somebody. I mean, Reese was from the way early seasons, and the way that I was looking at it, by the time they got to the final season, Reese had been off the show for so long. I mean, no, he wasn't a forgotten character, but he really just wasn't there. I just don't really see that there was any reason for him to necessarily come back, so I could just imagine that to see him walk on screen in the final season would have been like a breath of fresh air or something. Like, oh my god, you haven't seen him since the early seasons, and you almost forgot about him, and here he is, and he didn't come back, so, yeah. But, so yeah, like I said, so I guess I can still keep trying with him and everything, but that one number, they said they don't manage him anymore, so there's that. Alright, I guess I'll just reveal this. I'm not gonna, the reason why I said I wasn't gonna say it earlier is because I was afraid of saying the name wrong. I've already talked to her in emails already because I cannot pronounce this woman's name, like, at all, or whatever, and she said she completely understands. She actually said that her surname is a giant mouthful, and even in her family, it's pronounced differently by all her family members, her last name, because it's so hard. And she did, step by step in an email say how it's supposed to be said. So I just hope that when we have her on in 2 weeks, I hope that I get it right. Everybody out there, I haven't announced this. I just found out about like 1 or 2 days ago. I just found this out. We will. I mean, I know that you know who she is, Acacia. I don't know if you've gotten to her yet, but I am actually. What's that?
I have gotten to her.
Okay, yep. I am getting. We have officially gotten the actress who played Norma. That's right, we got her. Yep, and she seems like a total sweetheart. She seems very, very, very nice and everything from the emails, and it's actually her that is sending me these emails. It's not a management. She actually said that it was actually kind of funny of the way that she talks. I can't wait to actually hear her voice, or see her, that is, and hear her voice. But it's like she said to me that she thanks me profusely for inviting her to be on the show, and she would love to do it. She would love to. She said that just like how Jill Remez, Juanita, and just like how Christopher Malecki Spike, just like they said, Passions was a very, 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 very dear, special thing that they did in their careers, and she is the same way. She she said to me that that it was really, really funny that she basically said that I caught her when she's very, very busy, but she told me fear not because she's always busy. So that's what she said. So she um so I mean, let me see. I mean, I told her it's a real bummer, like a real giant bummer. I told her I would have loved it. So it would have made this even more special to have both her and the actress who played Edna on the show at the same time. That would have been so incredibly special to have the two lovers of the show reunited on our podcast. She said that working with her was a wonder and everything. It was wonderful working with her, and she is wondering how she's doing in her life now. She thinks that the actress who played Edna, I think Kathleen something, I think her name is, something along those lines. She said she thinks that she's in her 80s now or something, and so she's
She just
just
had a birthday recently. I think someone like in one of the Passions group posted about it. So yeah.
yeah, and she's another one. I actually tried calling her before I sent the email for Marianne, I think is her name, the one that we're getting. I think her name is Marianne. I never know Marianne. I never know. But she yeah, she was somebody I did find contact with, but both the phone number and the email are both bad, what inactive, whatever the word is. The email, I get things back, mail delivery errors, phone calls, I get those. The number you have dialed is now, whatever the word is and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm like thinking, I don't know how I could get her. Both of her contacts are like out, and it's the only ones that are on there. But anyways, um, she she actually told me or whatever that she was amazed or whatever that she got to be on there for like over 100 episodes or something. She said that when her character first started out, she was really only supposed to be on for a short amount of time, but the director or producer or somebody liked her so much that they just kept bringing her back. And so I said that's definitely something we're going to want to talk about on the show, so and stuff like that or whatever. And God, there was something else I was gonna say. She crud. Um, like I said, Norma and Edna are really complicated characters for me because while I definitely know who they are and I remember seeing them the seasons that I was watching, I've said this before, they're very, very complicated for me because I never really knew exactly who they were. I never really knew, were they villains? Were they good guys? Were they anti-heroes? Who were they? I never knew. It was like there was, like, towards the end of the, I mean, there was a number of times I saw them trying to protect Endora from the dark side and everything, and they were teaming up with Tabitha. But then there are other times where I see Norma going after Tabitha with a knife, trying to stab her. And then there's at the end where the two of them end up getting married in a gay marriage by Tabitha and everything. And I'm like, who are these people? Are they good guys or bad guys? Are we supposed to be rooting for them, or who are they? So like I said, I know the characters, but I never really understood. And I also know that Edna is related to Beth. I know that as well, but it's still very, very, very confusing on knowing who these two were from where I started. So
Yeah. Now
yeah.
I do remember. So I only know. So I have only gotten to a certain part with actually where I'm at right now. They're on Warlock Island, and um Norma is trying to kill Tabitha
See, like I
and
said,
but I was introduced to Norma because and I don't remember why, but I think it's after Tabitha and Timmy do the book, the Hidden Passions book. They leave Harmony for like a getaway or something, and they go to this hotel that's supposed to be like the Bates Motel, and Norma is like talking to like this skeleton who's like her dad and like saying, like, oh daddy, it's fine, like I'll get them out, whatever. And so it plays off of, I don't know if you've ever seen the old movie Psycho. Like
I
Alfred,
haven't, but I know what you're talking about, but I haven't
yeah,
seen
it
it.
plays
No.
off of that because there's even a scene
I had a,
where
I heard something that Norma was kind of a parody from a horror film.
it
Yeah.
was because she is supposed to be Norman. She's Norman Bates. She's Norma. I don't know if the last name was Bates, but
Like
no,
I said, I'd never seen it, but I read or heard something about that.
yeah, but like Psycho is like Norman Bates, like he's like obsessed with his mom who dies. I don't know the whole story because it's been a very long time since I've seen the movie. And he's based on like a serial killer, Ed Gein, who like his mom dies, so like basically creates like a shrine to her and like kills people and all that stuff. He's like one of the first well, not the first, but he's a big serial killer. Anyway, so Norma is based off of Norman Bates, and there's a scene in that like first when we like meet Norma, and she's like carrying around her dad's like skeleton head and talking to it like she really seems like a crazy person. And but like Tabitha's in the shower, and you just see her like open the shower and like start like stabbing, and then you
Those
see
typical
Tabitha,
horror movie
yeah,
things.
like just
Yeah.
like it's like a total play off of Psycho,
Yeah.
and Tabitha like falls, and you just see like all of this like what looks like blood, like drains circling the drain, which is exactly what happens in Psycho. Like that's the opening scene, I think, of Psycho. And I think that so then it's like it kind of leaves you on this like cliffhanger for like an episode or something where it's like, oh my gosh, did Tabitha die? Like we know she didn't, and like Timmy's like running around this like old motel looking for Tabitha, and the skeleton like falls on him, and of course he's like a little person, so uh,
Right.
like he can't get out from under this like skeleton basically, and he finally does. I think I'm
Right.
remembering some of this wrong, I think, but he goes back into the motel. He's like, oh princess, thinking she died, and then she's like comes out of the bathroom or something. It's like I saw the blood in the shower and blah blah blah, and she's like, "Oh, that's just my strawberry shampoo." And so there's this whole play on that, and then I think they escape and leave and go back to Harmony, and it's funny because there's like an airport scene where I think that Timmy's dressed up like a, a, a priest or something like that. I don't know, and Tabitha's dressed up like something, I don't know, but they're like trying to like move through the airport and not get caught. And I think it runs simultaneously with Teresa and Ethan. Something happens. It was like around their wedding time because I just watched this and I posted a video, and I remember someone in my comments said, "How come they cut out Norma?" But it's because I got it from like a Lindsay Hartley website, so they probably edited it
Right.
totally just be Lindsay Hartley. But when like Norma comes to Harmony and something, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that happens in between there, but basically the day of their wedding, Teresa's like running out of the church like crying because she's like, oh my god, like the tabloid thing, like I didn't even release the tabloid, I didn't even email them, but I did keep the paperwork, and they knew he wasn't a crane. And she is like running out of the church, and she bumps into Norma, and I think Norma maybe falls into like a suit, those big holes in the ground, like a sewage,
Right.
not sewage, but it's like a, I don't know, whatever it is. She falls in that, I'm pretty sure, and it stops her basically from killing Timmy and Tabitha. So so that is what I remember because again, I just watched it not too long ago, and we are on Warlock Island right now with where I am, and
Right.
Norma's like, I gotta get him. I gotta, the boat caught on fire. I don't know, kind of been paying attention.
Right. Yeah.
But their boat caught on fire, and like we thought that Timmy and Tabitha were gonna die, and of course they didn't. But it's because Norma, like I think, set it on fire or something like that. So
Yep.
yeah, I mean
But
it's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like I said, they were obviously likable characters, and that's why they kept coming back. As she said, she was only supposed to be on for a short time, but they loved her, so they kept bringing her
It was
back.
a very good story. Like it was like a very like it was like campy, you know. Like I think that
Well,
Passions
all of
itself is like
Passions is
very
campy. What are we talking
campy.
about?
Yeah, I think that Passions itself is very campy, and I think that that was even more like, oh, we have this like serial killer running around with like her dead skeleton head.
Yeah, I mean, I
Now,
even remember. I think it might have been. I think it might have been their return when the show went to DirecTV. I remember, it was Tabitha. I'm sorry, not Tabitha. It was well, Tabitha was around the wharf and everything around Christmas time, and here you got Norma as Santa Claus, and you got Edna as an elf, and all that. And so I remember stuff like that. But she said that if she said that if we that if there were going to be any personal questions that we wanted to ask her, she wanted to know before the podcast. And I thought to myself, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. I mean, I don't think, unless people just decide voluntarily to share personal stuff, I don't think out of all four of the cast members that we've had so far, I don't think we really asked anything personal. It's just usually about passions, maybe about their careers, like what were they like before Passions and after Passions when it comes to their careers and stuff like that. But we don't, unless they voluntarily just start sharing personal stuff. I don't think we ever actually asked anything, so I couldn't really think of anything I told her. So, but
I
again, I
don't
really
have
don't
any
even
personal questions.
I really don't even know what's considered personal, to be totally honest. I really don't. So,
Yeah. I mean, I've seen
yeah.
her in other shows. Like she's a very well known. I mean, she's been in a lot of
Oh,
other
really?
stuff. She's been in like I've seen her in like Lifetime movies. I think she always kind of plays this like antagonist kind of character.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, of course, before she is on the show, definitely probably looking up the other things that she's been in. But I'm pretty sure. I mean, I've seen her in other shows too. I think she was just in like a uh, Hallmark movie or something not too long ago. I think that she does a lot of like Hallmark Lifetime type. I feel like that's kind of the soap opera route, you know, is
Right.
going from soap opera to Hallmark. Hallmark movies, Lifetime
Right.
movies, yeah. So
Um, she also mentioned or whatever that because I had the reason that when she messaged me, it was I had made a mistake. I was obviously thinking of other people but not her, because I'm now remembering I had not actually called her yet because I didn't know how to pronounce her name. So I had not called her management yet, but I had mentioned in an email when I was emailing her management emails that I had said that I had left them several messages and heard nothing back. And then she responded. Like I said, this is actually her. It is not the management emailing me. It's her herself. Just like with Melinda, who played Pretty, she emailed me herself instead of her management. Well, she said, because like I said, it was an accident, and I was thinking of other people, and I accidentally said the same thing to her by accident, that I had left her place several messages and got nothing back. She said that wherever my messages ended up, they ended up in places that she usually chooses to just ignore. She usually just blocks when the messages end up in that area. But so she said that that's probably where my messages probably ended up, where she chooses to just ignore. But she said that this time her agent reached out to her, saw my email, and she read it, and boom, here we are. So,
awesome.
yeah. So I guess, yeah, there we go. But
So
no,
as
it's she,
oh sorry, keep
huh?
going. No,
No,
keep going.
no. That's all I was really gonna say. Is that go ahead.
I was just saying I was looking up some of the other things that she's been in. She was in the Terminator. Um, she was in Norbit. She was, and that's I think what I remember because my brother loves Norbit. Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. She was in. I don't know if you love Jingle All the Way with
I
Arnold
love
Schwarzenegger.
Wait a minute, who is she in that?
She is. Let's see who she is. In Jingle All the Way.
Oh my God, I love that movie. I grew up on Jingle All the Way. We had
Um,
Danny Woodburn who played Tony the Elf on there. He was on Passions, and he was our second guest appearance.
let's see if I can find the cast, like who she
Oh my
was.
God, she was in that. How can I? So that's two Jingle All the Way actors who have been on Passions.
It might not have been like a big role. I don't know. Let's see.
I just can't think in my head. I can't think who she could have been.
She was the tow truck driver. So I don't know that she was credited, but I don't think she was like um
There's only one moment that I can think of there being a tow truck driver, and I think I might know that exact scene. I mean, I have to go back and I have to look at it again to see if I recognize it, but I do remember a scene, Arnold Schwarzenegger's um, car ended up having to be towed or whatever because it was vandalized, and I remember him being in the truck or whatever. I just never paid attention to who the driver was, but
yeah, that
oh
was
my
her.
God, that's two actors from Jingle All the Way that were on Passions.
Yeah, she's been in a lot of stuff.
And
Smoking
I'm gonna
Aces.
have them both on here. We've already had Danny Woodburn, who was Tony the Elf during the Santa Claus scene or whatever. He was the demon elf, and we had him on here. He was our second guest appearance. I seen him in a lot of things, but I never imagined that this Marianne, or how you pronounce her name, I had no idea that she was on that. I'll have to go back and take a look at that.
Do you watch Saved by the
Um,
Bell? She was in the Saved by the
oh,
Bell, wedding in Las Vegas.
I saw that, but I wouldn't for the life of me remember, recognizing her or not, because I mean, I only watched that maybe like one or two times.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have
So
the
she
Saved by
had
I
a
have the Saved by the Bell. I have the Saved by the Bell complete collection, including the spin-offs and the ending movie, but I don't watch it as often as I do stuff like the Brady Bunch or
yeah.
Full House and stuff like that. So
Yeah, so she has a very, I mean, like very
yeah,
long,
this is gonna be
you
great to
know,
have her on the show
acting
in two
credit.
weeks.
So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So
Um,
yeah,
I was actually doing some thinking, just thinking about Norma and Edna and stuff like that or whatever. I was actually doing some thinking, and there's actually one character you're probably gonna laugh your ass off or whatever. I'm surprised that we haven't brought this character up at all. Um, Out of all the time that we've done this show, as long as you've been on, or as long as Casey and I have been doing it, we've never brought up this character once. But there's actually one character that I'm actually kind of glad that it's very, 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 very more than likely that we're not going to get onto the show. And it's not because the actor's dead or anything like that. I just don't really see how we could get this character on the show, and I'm really glad that we can't. And that's I'm kind of glad that we actually can't get Precious on the show because I don't like
oh my gosh,
monkeys.
I actually was thinking about doing a. I got all the pictures and like a video clip because when I did a post months ago, it's been probably about a month or two of like, okay, who did you like? Who did you want Luis to end up with?
Oh
Sheridan. I'm sure you
God!
saw that post, and I know that you did because I know that you commented on it. And majority of them said Sheridan, of course.
Of course.
Um, and but I had a handful of people who were like, no, like, why is Precious not on there? Why is Precious not on there? So I was like, well, I definitely need to do a tribute to Luis and Precious.
I didn't. I didn't see any episodes with Precious. I just know the character was mentioned a lot. I've seen a few itty bitty little clips, but I've never, like I said, I've not seen that far back. But I don't like monkeys. I really don't. They gross me out. They really, really, really gross me out. And just knowing that Luis had to have something of a romance with a monkey just makes me want to vomit and everything. And so I'm like thinking to myself, boy, am I glad that there's like no way for us to get in contact with that orangutan's trainer or whatever to have her on the show. That would just, oh man, that would probably gross me out. But I mean, I do remember. If you, I don't know how many of the episodes you saw. I know you saw like one or two. I don't know if you saw them all, but I do remember on the. Swear to God, some of the questions that were asked on this show were a little bit dull, if you ask me, or whatever. I was on Passions Live, I mean, I loved Passions Live. I mean, again, it's how I met my now ex-wife and all that kind of stuff and everything. I'm so upset that I never had direct TV, so I didn't know about it until after it was over, but I was never able to call and actually ask a question. But I'm going to be honest with you, some of the questions that were called in and asked were kind of dull, if you ask me. I mean, some of them are like asking like a question for you, Eric. Will Ethan and Teresa make it this time? And all that kind of stuff or whatever. And I'm like thinking, I ain't gonna tell you that. I mean, why in the
I
world
know,
would you
exactly.
like that or whatever? And then they ask Galen, who do you think you end up with, Sheridan or Fancy? Precious. You know, the monkey that we just saw? Yeah. I'm like, they're not gonna tell you that stuff. I mean,
I
why
remember
bother
one that
wasting your
was
phone call?
I remember one that was really funny. Someone asked Teresa, obviously, like about her crying and like how she's
I
always
remember that.
cry. They were like, "But can you like cry right now?" And she's like, "No."
I do feel, I do feel so incredibly bad with the question. It was the one with Lindsay and Kim as the hosts and as the guest appearances. Is I feel so bad when it came to the question for Lindsay of what do you plan to do after Passions, and she starts going into these things that she would like to do, but then she ends the answer with, well, the thing is, when is after Passions? I mean, who knows? And then that ends up being the last season. I'm
I
like,
feel like
that
they
was
had to
such.
have known that it was coming to an
They
end at
well,
that
they did probably
point.
didn't know at that point. Yeah, because
I don't
Mackenzie
know how
actually.
soon
Yeah,
that
because
happened.
Mackenzie had basically told me, I don't know if you were in that one, but Mackenzie had said in a live chat, she told the story of what it was like when everybody was informed that it was going to be the final, that was coming to an end and all that stuff. Or I remember even asking Danny Woodburn, again, he plays the Demon Elf on the show, and he actually does come back during the direct TV run and everything. He plays a pretty big villain who's there, goes away for a while, and then comes back in direct TV. And his character's departure from the show, I remember even asking him when his character was being, you know, gone for good on the show or whatever, did he know that the show was ending, or did he think that his character was just done? He goes, no, I knew it was ending, and stuff like that and everything. I didn't think for a character like him, or whatever, it's like, who's to really, how I mean, again, especially for how early in the direct TV run he was written off, and so, yeah, but no, Mackenzie Westmore has explained of what it was like but I just feel so bad. When is After Passions? Now is After Passions. This is your last season, Lindsay. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I think at the end she
it.
says like, "So keep watching Passions" or something like that. But I remember like I think by then they had
I don't
stuff
think they knew when
brewing.
they were promoting it. They didn't know, but after, yeah, they knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like because I think she talked about like wanting to have more kids and like
Yep.
I'm sure that she probably like had already accepted Days at that point because I think didn't she kind of transition fairly quickly from Passions to like
No, I don't.
Days?
No, I don't think she had. I don't think she had anything to do with Days when she was still on Passions. No, none of them did because it wasn't until Passions was over, that was when Galen and Eric auditioned for their characters. Well, actually, I mean, I don't know if you know this or not, but I mean, I do find this a little bit funny. Eric has actually said that he actually auditioned for Galen's character. He actually
I've seen
came in
him.
and
I
auditioned.
saw that interview.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he didn't know that it was actually Rafael Hernandez. He just knew it was Rafe Hernandez. He didn't know it was Rafael. If he had known it was Rafael, he never would have auditioned. But so he obviously didn't get that. But then they liked him so much, and they liked his audition, and they wanted to bring Brady back, so they remembered him, and they called him up and said, "Hey, why don't you come on and take over as Brady?" And Lindsay, I don't there was absolutely no way in hell, absolutely no way. I mean, Galen and Eric, like I said, they auditioned after Passions, but there's definitely no way that Lindsay could have had anything to do with Days while she was still doing Passions, because she, just like Eric, she was a replacement. There was another actress who played Ariana first. She got fired,
Oh.
and then Lindsay was brought on, and that was like later into Galen and Eric's run, and then before you know it, it was announced that it was going to be some kind of a Passions reunion because you had Lindsay playing both Galen's sister and Eric's lover again, and all that kind of stuff and everything. That's it. So no, I don't think any of them, none of them had anything to do with Days while they were still on Passions. I don't even think they really knew where their lives were going after, at the time. They thought that Passions was going to keep going, and then the show was announced that it was being canceled, and then it ended, and I don't think they auditioned until they had wrapped up, I think. So, for Days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I just felt so bad for that question, like when is After Passions, and that's it. It just ugh.
I'm not gonna lie though, because at that time she was married to Justin Hartley. Like he was doing a lot of stuff at that point. So like I would have probably just taken a moment to chill and like be with my kids
sure.
and stuff. Because
Sure.
I think that he was on Smallville at that time.
That's right. Yeah, and Eric Martsolf was on an episode of Smallville too.
He
the
played
Booster.
Somebody. Okay.
As soon as I heard he was going to be on there, I tuned in specifically for that. I did not watch Smallville. I know of it, and it's actually I don't like Superman, but I like Smallville because it's basically a soap opera version of Superman, and I love soap operas. So I saw a little bit of it, but I really didn't. Yeah. But I knew once I heard that Eric Martsolf was going to play the Booster on there, I had to watch it. Oh my God! Wow, was that a character that I was not expecting and all that? And
yeah, I've never seen it. I've seen pictures of like I saw a picture of Teresa.
He's
like,
basically almost like in my opinion, he's almost like a Buzz Lightyear kind of character on the show. Literally, like he's one of those guys that just like hands on his hips all the time, like how you all doing, folks? Like that or whatever. It's just like kind of like Buzz Lightyear in a way, sort of just all full of himself and acting all cool and everything. And he had actually said that the only episode that Justin Hartley wasn't in was the Booster. And Eric actually said, because they are one of the best buddies, and he said that he remembered when he got cast to play Booster, he called Justin up and said, "This is awesome! I'm gonna be on Smallville, man. When should we get together? What should we do once I'm out there? We go out and do some fun stuff. What do you want to do?" And Justin's like, "I'm off that week." So
I saw that interview, and I've seen they're really good friends. Like they still do. Like there was just a picture on Instagram recently where they were.
Justin seems to have poor Justin, for such a good-looking, nice guy that he is. He seems to have kind of bad luck when it comes to women, because I mean his beautiful marriage with Lindsay ended, and then he ended up getting married to Chriselle Staus. That only lasted a few months, and only a few months after the marriage
the weird thing is that they dated for 4 or 5 years prior to that. I think, okay, so I mean, I'm on Reddit. I've seen a lot of theories as to why their marriage ended. Of course, he got married to his current wife very quickly after his divorce was final from her.
Oh, he's married again?
Oh yeah, he's married to. She was on.
Oh, I didn't know he got married. Who's he married to now? I didn't.
His current wife was on Young and the Restless. Her name Sophia Pernas. I don't know. I don't watch Young and the Restless, so I don't know who she played.
Neither do I. I just know that that Billy Flynn, who was on Days, is on there now. So yeah,
she looks like a perfect mix of Lindsay and Chriselle. It's very if you certain pictures you see her and she looks a lot like Lindsay or a lot like Chriselle. So I think that he very much. And I actually made a post. One of my first really successful posts on my Passions TikTok was about Lindsay and Justin being married, because a lot of people think that he was only married to Chriselle or before he got with his new wife, and don't realize that he has a kid obviously with Lindsay, and they were married for 8 years. But you'll have to look at it. The comments are very interesting. There's a lot of tea in the comments. But someone made the point basically that he has very clearly has a type, because all of his wives look very, very similar. So I mean his current wife is beautiful, but they all look alike. very, very dark hair, like, dark hair and, whatever.
Chriselle sure didn't. Chriselle's a pure blonde.
Well, she had darkish hair, like brownish hair when she was with him.
I know her from All My Children, and I know that she, um, was temporarily Galen's lover on Days of Our Lives, and then she left the show, and then she came back as a villain on Days of Our Lives, and now which was kind of interesting to actually see because I mean she's so incredibly beautiful to see her as a villain. That's kind of a shocker, but but that's how I know her is basically All My Children. And I came extremely close to meeting her the very, very, very first time that I met Galen in person when the Days cast was doing a book signing. It was Galen, Deidre Hall, Freddie Smith, who played the original Sonny on Days, and Chriselle. And I remember because at the time of the signing, Galen's character of Rafe was going through rehab. He was in a wheelchair and all that. I can't remember what had happened, but he was going through rehab and he was in a wheelchair. Chriselle was his nurse, helping him through the rehab, and she ended up turning into his lover and all that or whatever. And like I said, she wasn't a permanent character, so she did end up leaving. And then the next time when she did come back, her character had been transformed into a villain, which was a real shocker. And so, apparently she's the, sister of, Ben Weston, the character from Days, who is also not on there anymore. His actor is playing a different character on Days now. So anyways, but as I was saying, I remember we were at the store, we were in the line for our books and everything to be signed. I mean, I wasn't married yet, I was just engaged or dating this girl. And I remember as we were getting closer and closer, the three of them were sitting. Chriselle was standing, and all of a sudden, it's like the closer we got, the next thing I knew, Chriselle had sort of just disappeared. She just wasn't there anymore or whatever. She had just gone. Those three were still sitting, signing, talking, and Chriselle had just disappeared. And so, by the time I got up there, I didn't get to meet her, unfortunately, which I'm really down about because I would love to meet her. She's so gorgeous and talented, so I'm really upset I didn't get to meet her, so, yeah.
Yeah, I only really know. I don't watch those soaps. I mean, I did, but not at that time. When she was on, I only know her from Selling Sunset. I watched a few of her like a few seasons that she was on with Selling Sunset on Netflix. And of course, like it was around the time when she and Justin got divorced, and it was like this very big deal.
It really blew me away because it was a really, 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 really big deal that the two of them were dating, and then it was a really, really big deal that they were engaged, and then it was a really, really, really big deal that they got married, and then the next thing you know, only a few months after the marriage, they were announcing they were divorcing. I was like, that was quick.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely there's a lot of lore and theories around what happened with
Yeah,
them.
I've always said that Justin and Lindsay, in my eyes, I don't know if you know who I'm talking about when I say this, but there are a few celebrity married couples out there in the world that just seem so good together and just seem so in love with each other and everything. You really just think to yourself, they could never break up. They're just that much in love. I thought that about Idina Menzel and Taye Diggs, and look at that. Now Idina Menzel's married to somebody else now, and all that stuff and everything. But hearing that Justin and Lindsay were divorcing, I was like, they were another one. They seemed like they were just that in love. What could possibly break them up? And then it happened. There's a lot of celebrities out there. It's like I always say. I'll just say something funny before we run out of time. This has nothing to do with any soap operas, but I will never ever forget when it was very first announced all those years ago that Hilary Duff was going to be getting married for the first time. And Hilary Duff used to be my number one celebrity crush. And I remember saying, the one thing I always say is that celebrity marriages, they never last. It won't last. Just watch. It won't last. It didn't. She got divorced, and now here she is married to somebody else. So, yeah, celebrity marriages, they don't last.
They definitely don't. I think there's a lot of also interesting stuff with Lindsay and Justin because I think Justin was engaged to someone else when he moved to Hollywood. There's actually a clip on my TikTok where he
Hmm.
talks about his girlfriend that he moved to LA with. And then shortly after that, when he was on the show, obviously he and Lindsay got together. So I think that there was some overlap in those relationships, and Lindsay got pregnant, and then they got married, and I think there was some overlap between Chriselle and his current wife. Um, Even if you watch Selling Sunset, Chriselle talks about,
I
like
know.
one day they were married, and then like the next day he sent a
It
text.
was, it had to be. It's the only way that I can think of. It was Justin as Fox when Teresa and Fox dated, right?
Yeah,
Okay, it hadn't moved up. Yeah,
because
it
I
had
remember
to be.
thinking like these two people are so beautiful, like they have such a good chemistry, and then like finding out at that point that she was like actually married to him in real life, like they had a daughter and stuff like that, and I remember being like, oh my god, like they're so cute, they're so perfect, and then like their kid is like super. I mean, their daughter's like gorgeous, so.
I'm still extremely. I'm still. I mean, I'm extremely frustrated because again, even though I loved this actor in the role, I mean, again, because we're talking about Teresa, like it had to be Justin and Lindsay because Lindsay got pregnant and everything with Justin's kid, and she was on maternity leave, and so both Justin and Lindsay were both temporarily recast at the same time. So I was like, yeah, it had to be Justin. So Mark came on when Fox was with Kay. But I was just gonna say it still really frustrates me very much, even though I have not watched yet. Maybe I need to watch to understand it better, but it's still, like I said, you know how big of a fan I am of this guy and how badly I want him on the show. It just really frustrates me as to why it seems like, you've got Justin playing Fox on the show, and at the time when Fox was a fan favorite, because it was Justin. Once Mark came on, he kind of lost his fan favoritism or whatever. But when Justin was on, he was a fan favorite, and at the time, Fox was still a nice, good guy in a way, sort of. He was still a good guy before. Because I mean, when Mark came on, they had him teaming up with Julian and doing all these bad things like having Miguel hit with his car. Well, actually, Spike did it, but Fox hired Spike to do it and stuff like that and everything. And with Miguel's car and all that stuff, and like faking an illness so that Kay will
Mhm.
marry him and all that stuff, all these bad things and everything. But when Justin was on, he was a good guy. And then when he was temporarily replaced by my guy, Nick Stabile, who I love very much, it just really confuses me as to why, when Nick Stabile came on, Nick really seemed like he was playing Fox out as well. Not the nice guy that was still Justin. I mean, the writers had him teaming up with Julian and stuff like that. I mean, no, they weren't necessarily doing anything with Kay or anything like that, but he still wasn't this good guy that Justin was. He was teaming up with
Yeah.
his dad and doing bad guy shit and everything. And I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. If Justin is still playing the part, wouldn't the writers continue that even if it's a different actor? If the character was being recast entirely, like when Mark came on, that's a different story. But Nick Stabile was only there because Justin's wife was having a baby, for crying out loud. That's no reason to freaking all of a sudden, oh, I'm a bad guy now. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. So
I think that for all of them, like whoever like play, I think that all of the characters played different. Like whenever there was a replacement, I think that the person's personality changed because, of course, like the actor, like how they present the lines and stuff like that. Like I always say that with like Lindsay when she was on parental leave and Priscilla took over, and
And as I've always, yep, and as I've always
yeah,
said, at least the first part, in my opinion, the third part, fact, like I've always said or whatever, I've always felt that Jesse and Miguel number two, Adrian Gerardo, whatever you want to call them, their Miguels were pretty similar and everything. They were pretty much similar, the romantic, good-looking guys and everything. The only difference is that Miguel number two had biceps and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But then Blair came on and made the character fresh and brand new and made it his own. So, like I said, the first part is only my opinion. I feel like those two were the same. I don't know what anybody else would think, but Blair making it his own, that's a fact because Blair's father actually told me that that's very important to Blair, that whenever he plays a character, he always wants to make the characters his own. That's very, very important to
Yeah.
him. Yeah. But anyways, people, you know what? We are out of time. That's right. We've made it. We had a good run this round with, sadly, Casey not here. We miss you, Casey, and we look forward to having you back next weekend. But anyways, people, all of you out there, I repeat what I said before. If any of you all out there who like our show, love Passions, and would love to tell us about your relationship with their connection with the show and how much you miss it, love it, how you came to like it, like I said, like and subscribe on YouTube, Passion Supernatural Podcast, and give us just a name and a social media name, account, whatever it is that you've got in the comment sections below. One of us, we will reach out to you. We would love to have you appear on here. We thank you all very, very, very much for joining us today. Thank you, Acacia, for helping Casey out today, helping me out here. But this is like your second time doing it, I believe, so we appreciate it a lot. And we look forward to having you back again with us. And like I said, everybody, tune in about 2 weeks, I believe it is. Tune in about 2 weeks. We will have, I'm not going to say her surname, but Marion, I'm not sure which one it is. I'll have to ask her, who played Norma Bates on Passions. She will be with us in just about 2 weeks and everything, so please tune in. And that's going to be a fun one. I'm really, really, really excited. Just like what it was like when we had Jill Remez on last time and all the people before her. We've come far, people. We've come far. Casey's actually really believing that I was right. It's going to take some time, but we'll get people. So just tune in next week. I'm Joe Velasquez. Thank you, Acacia. And all of you out there, remember, you are our passion for life. Thank you. God bless. Good night, everybody. Woo! Or I should say, good night, everybody! Woo! Ha ha!